What's up, guys? It's Tanner from MC Podcast, aka Meta Culture, and today we're going to be going over the episode 7, so leveling episode, and I'm coming straight off of watching this, so I don't know if that has any effect in my opinion right now, which it probably does, but I genuinely think this might have been the most well-done episode so far. Now, this might sound crazy because a lot of these earlier episodes were really important and were really one of the main parts of the webtoon, but I really think that in this episode, they really kind of took this one to the next level. This almost felt, I don't know if this is taking too far, but felt better than the way the webtoon portrayed it. Obviously, the way the webtoon kind of came out obviously looked really cool and obviously has way more of an effect, visually. But obviously the art is still there. It's animated. It's super good, but it's hard to keep up with stuff like drawings and the actual webtoon. But they did an amazing job at adding certain stuff and actually making it feel more impactful and meaningful in the anime. But I'll start off with they enter the dungeon with the convicts, and obviously they have this surveillance guy just watching over them. And basically, they're progressing through the dungeon. They're noticing Sung Jin-woo is, not taking any, hits from anything. He's kind of just, a lot stronger, a lot different. His aura is different, and they kind of just see just a little bit of a difference in him. And but throughout this episode, it kind of gets really important as they're progressing throughout the dungeon, and it kind of plays back to a scene where they had a little snippet in the previous episode where a guy came up to the surveillance officer and was like, I want you to do something. And in this episode, it gets into it where basically there's this guy who basically is the father of the girl who basically got assaulted by the 3 convicts, which were part of the dungeon raid. But furthermore, he kind of is like, I need to pay you to kill these guys. But basically, this guy's kind of on another level type shit. He's really crazy. He doesn't really care about the money or anything like that. He kind of just likes killing people. But either way, he kills the convicts. He kind of plants a plan, I'm gonna blame it on, stuff. So anything can happen in a dungeon. Once again, they're saying no matter what, basically anything can happen in a dungeon, and it really doesn't matter. You can blame it on whatever, as long as you have enough evidence. And especially if you're from the surveillance, division, you're gonna have some credibility. But either way, he kills the convicts really easily, and then he kills obviously the 2 other guys that were part of the dungeon, that were part of the double dungeon, who are really kind of remorseful for what they did in the double dungeon. So after this raid, they kind of vowed to apologize, and they really felt bad at what they were doing. And obviously if you're pushed to the lengths that they were in the double dungeon, who knows who would do what, you know what I mean? If you're put in a situation where it's life or death, you don't know what you're gonna do. So these guys learn from it and realize they need to apologize and do the right thing. But unfortunately, they see the surveillance guy killing the convicts and kind of cold blood, and basically he's gonna kill them, just not only because they saw him, but because he's crazy and he wants to kill people. And he obviously hears them scream, Sung Jin-woo. They run over, and this part of the episode really got me. This is where it started to really take off and start to get really good, is when they kind of come back and they see Mr. Kang, or the guy that basically left Jin-woo in the double dungeon, as well as the other guy. But it's more impactful because this guy kind of had, he was deep-rooted. He was from the first episode. He was the first guy calling him the weakest hunter. He was always dogging on him, and when the time came through, Sung Jin-woo really helped out, and he kind of feels bad for it. And obviously, since he's grown so much, it kind of sucks to see this guy. We saw in the previous episode he had a family as well. So it's just so meaningful and so impactful, and it just feels so terrible that he's dead. And Sung Jin-woo, you see, gets mad because he's like, you need to be alive so I can hate you. So you can be a reason to fuel me to keep moving forward. And at the same time, it's it's kind of, he doesn't want it to happen, but at the same time, it's just he can't do anything about it. So either way, I think Jo-hee in this scene and a lot of different scenes really needs to pull it together. I understand she's been through a lot and she's not, the raider type or the hunter type, but I feel like she can be so much more useful in a lot of these situations. And she's kind of as a B-class hero, you would think this guy that's surveying them is a B-class hero or a B-class, oh my god, hunter. And and she's barely being able to heal this guy. Like, if they're on the same like ranking, shouldn't she be able to do more? That's my only little concern with this episode, but I'm gonna keep going into it because it gets so much better from here. It's very emotional when he dies. I think they actually played this part really well in the webtoon, because you see how emotional Sung Jin-woo gets, and they emphasize it more, and you kind of feel worse for Mr. Kang because he wanted to apologize. He had a family, you know, and he was actually growing from what he was before, and it's kind of sad to see. And they did the scene beautifully. I think they took their time with this way more than they did in the webtoon. Sung Jin-woo was way more affected by everything, but this fight, I was a little worried when it started off, right? He obviously fought, I forget his name. He's the rank, I think it was, he's the guy with one arm. He's a swordsman. I'm sorry. But either way, he was fighting against the surveillance guy, and obviously he's not going to be strong enough because the healer behind him, he uses magic. He's not a swordsman. He's just strong in a swordsman's sense. But honestly, I was worried. When the fight first started with Sung Jin-woo and the surveillance guy, I was worried because it looked like kind of like they were just throwing in abilities, but it really started to take off. Like, the animation just took a switch, the choreography, the fighting, like everything. Like, I think this part, like, the anime does stuff better in a sense in different scenes where you wouldn't think, you know, would be good in a webtoon. Like, sometimes like you would put some scenes off in the webtoon and be like, oh, that's not that good, you can't really make that into a good scene. But like, usually they emphasize Sung Jin-woo and his strength and his ability, but they really like put a lot of emphasis on this episode and kind of taking their own twist on it and adding stuff that actually looked good. Like, they had auras, they had looks that were different from the webtoon in a sense, but it had its own like allure to it, and it was super interesting. I love the fight scene. This was honestly a super well done episode. From the way the poison effects happen, for him using the abilities, to the system pushing him. There's a lot of hints in this episode where especially it kind of shows that Sung Jin-woo really doesn't know much about the system, and he's kind of just using it so he can get stronger, and it's also using him in a sense where it's making him kill, making him become more of what the system wants him to be. So the system is using him and he's using the system. But either way, Sung Jin-woo kind of shows himself, and his ability is super strong, especially the Murder Sword 10. It kind of like literally allows him to get a free kill on this guy that has more experience and more ability than him. He's just a stronger, like, at first the surveillance guy seems like a stronger hunter and just stronger overall because we don't know too much about Sung Jin-woo, but they're basically the same. It's like a mirror fight. They're both assassins, they're both strong. The surveillance guy has the edge because he has invisibility, because he has experience, but Sung Jin-woo is just on another level. I mean, he healed himself, he has assassin abilities, he's strong, he's durable. It's like there's so many things in this fight you could see a difference in, and basically the more he gets stronger, he has less kind of emotion, and he loses a part of it himself in a sense as he grows stronger. But I think the anime is doing it well in a sense of like a lot of emotion is shown. But other than that, it was a great episode all in all. Basically the guy with one arm basically took raps for killing the division guy because Sung Jin-woo would have been exposed. He would have basically been reevaluated, and basically he would have been exposed to everybody, and that's not what he wants. He wants to get as strong as possible without, you know, showing off to everybody and kind of like telling everybody he's strong, because that's bad. He wants to get as strong as possible without anybody knowing, and then that way he can protect all his family and everything. So this was a great episode all in all. This was awesome. It's a little bit longer of an episode today just because of how excited and how much I wanted to talk about this. But this was a great episode. You guys need to stay tuned. We've been begging the views on this one and Khalil's Chain Soldier. So stay tuned. I hope you guys really loved this episode as much as I did. And deuces.
Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. Just Khalil. I just want to say rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. I know we didn't talk about it very much, but I'm gonna keep saying it in every video basically I upload from this point forward. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama, man. Like I said, one of my favorite creators. Definitely did a lot for me. Reason why MC Pockets even started. So every video you're gonna hear rest in peace to Akira Toriyama.